Hare Krishna, dear devotees, let us chant one round of japa with Srila Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatamine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram 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 Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Krishna Hare Hare Ram Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktaru Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhaktavrind ki jai. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for all session. Let's recite Bhagavad Gita shloka. We are reciting from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 14, text 10. If anyone needs to go first, please raise your hand. Nobody needs to go first. So we'll just go in order then. 14, 10. So who's first? Isha? Wait a second. Let me change the view. Yeah, now we reset.
रजस्तमश्चाभिभूय सत्वं भवति भारत रजः सत्वं तमश्चैव तमः सत्वं रजस्तथा. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance. O son of Bharata, sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times, ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy.
Yeah, 1 second. Okay. Next, Krishnashish.
रजस्तमश्चाभिभूय सत्वं भवति भारत रजसत्वं तमश्चैव तमसत्वं रजस्तथा. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance. O son of Bharata. Sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy.
Madhava.
रजस्तमश्चाभिभूय सत्वं भवति भारत सत्वं तमश्चैव तमः सत्वं रजस्तथा. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance. O son of Bharata. Sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and other times ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy.
Rasapriya.
रजस्तमश्चाभिभूय सत्वं भवति भारत रजः सत्वं तमश्चैव तमः सत्वं रजस्तथा. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance. O son of Bharata. Sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy.
Next is Narsimhalila Chaitanya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
रजस्तमश्चभिभ्यूय सत्वं भवति भारत रजसत्वं तमश्चैव तमस्सत्वं रजस्तथा. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the mode of passion and ignorance, O son of Bharata. Sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times, ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always a competition for supremacy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. रजस्तमश्चाभिभूय सत्वं भवति भारत रजसत्वं तमश्चैव तमः सत्वं रजस्तथा. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance. O son of Bharata, sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. That's all. Okay, next. Priyanka Haripriya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Rajastamashchabhibhuya sattvam bhavati bharata rajaha sattvam tamashchaiva tamaha sattvam rajastatha. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance, O son of Bharata. Sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Ragna and Saujanya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Rajastamascha vibhuya sattvam bhavati bharata rajasattvam tamaschaiva tamasattvam rajastata. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance, O son of Bharata. Sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Saujanya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavad Pranam Swagya Srila Prabhupada. All good to the Sambal devotees.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Rajastamascha vibhuya sattvam bhavati bharata rajasattvam tamaschaiva tamasattvam rajastata. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance. O son of Bharata, sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Narsimha Chaitanya.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Rajastamascha vibhuya sattvam bhavati bharata rajasattvam tamaschaiva tamasattvam rajasata. Translation. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance. O son of Bharata, sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always a competition for supremacy.
Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavat Pranam Swagya Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Rajastamascha vibhuya sattvam bhavati bharata rajasattvam tamaschaiva tamasattvam rajastata. Translation. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance, O son of Bharata. Sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for the supremacy. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Aditi Lata Mataji and Arunita, are you able to recite?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Rajastamascha vibhuya sattvam bhavati bharata rajasattvam tamaschaiva tamasattvam rajastata. Translation. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance. O son of Bharata, sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Rajastamas cha vibhuya sattvam bhavati bharata rajasattvam tamaschaiva tamasattvam rajastata. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance, O son of Bharata. Sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? I'll recite. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 14, text 10. Rajas sattvam tamaschaiva. No. Rajas tamascha vibhuya sattvam bhavati bharata rajah sattvam tamaschaiva tamah sattvam rajastata. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance. O son of Bharata, sometimes the mode of passion defeats the mode of goodness and ignorance, and at other times ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. Okay, let's read Srimad Bhagavatam. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto. It's from before. Narsimha Chaitanya Prabhu, your hand is raised. I think everyone recited. So we are reading. Yeah, no problem. So let's read Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 1. The Advent of Lord Sri Krishna, Introduction. And so now the pastime has begun. So first we read what Lord Brahma heard from Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, and he repeated that. And then after repeating whatever was said by Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, what did Lord Brahma do? Lord Brahma, 1 second, pacified Bhumi Devi and went back to his abode, right? 26. After thus advising the demigods and pacifying Mother Earth, the very powerful Lord Brahma, who is the master of all other Prajapatis, right? Prajapati Pati, the master of all Prajapatis, he returned to his own abode. Then we started reading about Shurasena, that formerly there was a king called Shurasena from the Yadu dynasty. He was the chief of the Yadu dynasty, and he ruled over the districts of Mathura and Shurasena, and he made his capital a city called Mathura. Then, since he lived there and he ruled from there, the city of Mathura has become, so since Shurasena, that has been the capital for all the kings of Yadu dynasty ever since. Then Mathura is not just a city, it's also a district. There's both city and district. And the important point here is Nityam Sannihito Harihi. What is the significance of Mathura? That here the Supreme Lord, this Mathura is not a material place, it is transcendental. And within Mathura, when you say Mathura, then Vrindavan in Mathura district, because not just the city, the district itself is also transcendental, Mathura. So that means Vraja, Vrindavan, they're all coming under, they're all transcendental. And the Lord's pastimes are eternally happening there. They're intimately connected with the Lord because He's always living there, performing pastimes. And even though externally it appears to be in this, actually, this is the Lord's mercy, right? To give us an opportunity to associate with Him, even while in our conditioned state. So He comes in the form of deity, He comes in the form of, His holy dham, so that we can associate with Him. So that is His mercy. But the important point is that Mathura and other holy places also, they are not material. Why they are not material? Because the Lord is eternally living there. Now, did we start reading the next verse? No, right? We read also. Did we? No. About the marriage of Vasudeva and Devaki. Let me see the bookmark, then I will know. Actually, I have it here, right? Yeah, this is where we have to start today. Okay. So, do you know who's supposed to read? Who was the last person who read?
I
Priyanka,
think Saujanya Mataji, but I am not 100% sure.
Mataji, did you read last time, Saujanya Mataji?
I think Mataji, Shravanti Mataji read last.
Okay.
She read the purport. If it is the
She
long
read.
one, I think she read the purport. Yeah, last.
Mataji, yes, Mataji, I read the last and yeah.
Everyone
and
in your
read.
family read also?
No, Mataji, Suhran and Spurti didn't read.
Okay, so they'll read and then we'll go to Priyanka. Tasyam tu karhi chaurir. Tasyam tu karhi chaurir. Vasudevah kritodvaha. Devakya suryaya sardham. Prayane rathamaruhat. Okay, so we already read about the place, Mathura, where Shurasena was residing. Now, what happened in that district? Translation. Suraj Purti.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Some time ago, Vasudev, who belonged to the demigod family or the Surya dynasty, married Devaki. After the marriage, he mounted his chariot to return home with his newly married wife. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So we were reading our Shurasena, who came to live in Mathura district. Mathura as well as Shurasena district. So Shurasena district obviously gets the name from Shurasena, and his capital was Mathura. And this Shurasena had a son called Vasudev. And Vasudev, once he was marrying, so in the 9th canto we already read about the Yadu kings, the kings from the Yadu dynasty. We read about, so all that has already been described, so there's no need to go into details now. Who is whose son and how many brothers and all that, no need. That has been discussed already in the 9th canto. So Shurasena's son was Vasudev. And Vasudev, also we saw how Vasudev had many wives, and from each wife which sons were born, that was also discussed already. So Vasudev was marrying Devaki. We are talking particularly about Vasudev's marriage with Devaki here. So once Vasudev, who belonged to the demigod family or the Shura dynasty, okay, Shura. Why demigod family? Because the Lord already ordered all the demigods to take birth in the Yadu dynasty. So here it is called Shura dynasty, to the demigods family. And some time ago, Vasudev, who belonged to the demigod family or to the Shura dynasty, Shurasena's dynasty, right? Shura dynasty, or you can call demigod dynasty. He married Devaki. After the marriage, he mounted his chariot to return home with his newly married wife. So you know, marriage, where does it take place? In the girl's home or in the boy's home? Bride's home or bridegroom's home? Generally.
Girls' home.
Girl's home. And then after marrying the girl, you take the girl, the bridegroom takes the girl to his place. So Vasudev also had come to Devaki's home. He married her there, and now he's taking her back to his place. Yeah, he was returning home. Next, Suhrit. Ugrasena sutah kamsaha swasuhu priyachikirshaya rashmin hayanam jagraha raukmai ratha shatairvritaha. Yes, Suhrit.
Mataji, Suhrit's not here, Mataji.
Okay. So Priyanka Haripriya Mataji.
Kansa, the son of King Ugrasena, in order to please his sister Devaki on the occasion of her marriage, took charge of the reins of the horses and became the chariot driver. He was surrounded by hundreds of golden chariots.
Yes. Ugrasena sutaha Kamsaha. Kamsa is the son of Ugrasena. Swasuhu Priya Chikirshaya. Swasuhu Priya Chikirshaya. Swasuhu means of his own sister. Priya Chikirshaya. So in order to please her, right? Swasuhu Priya Chikirshaya. On the occasion of her marriage. Rashmin, what is Rashmin? The reins of the horses. Hayanam means horses. Rashmin Hayanam, the reins of the horses. Jagraha, he took charge, right? That means he actually became the chariot driver. He took the charge of the reins of the horses to drive the chariot of Vasudeva and Devaki. Why? Because his sister Devaki was very dear to him. To please her on the occasion of her marriage. And also, you know, this is actually a custom when a girl gets married and her brother follows her, takes her to her husband's home so that she may not feel, anyway, she will be feeling a lot of separation, isn't it? She's married and she's been living all her life practically in that house with her family members, her mother, father, brother, sister. And now all of a sudden she has to go to an unknown place, unknown people, not just for a visit, but she'll be living there for the rest of her life. It's a big shock.
Horrible feeling, I can tell you that.
Yeah. And generally they're even married, marriageable age is at a young age, so it's a big it's a very big step and difficult time for the girl. So now, simply being surrounded by strangers all the time, it can, it'll take some adjustment time. So the system is her brother goes with her. So she will have someone that she can relate to, like her family. And he will stay there. And they have some ceremonies also, when the brother goes there, then they tease him and all that. But uh, he'll stay there for a few days and then he will come back home. By that time, she gets adjusted, she becomes familiar with the members there and home. That's the system. So Kamsa is following his sister. And he's not just following on his own chariot, he's actually, like, it's even more personal. He's actually carrying her by taking charge of the reins of the horses. He's driving the chariot and taking his sister. Why? Simply to please her, to make her feel, you know, reassured, at home. So he's just taking, like, I'm with you, my dear sister, like that. He's taking her. Okay, so what do we see here? We see how much Devaki, how she was so dear to Kamsa. So Ugrasena Sutah Kamsaha Swasuh Priyachikirshaya Rashmin Hayanam Jagraha Raukmai Ratha Shatair Vritaha. Raukmai means the chariot was surrounded by Shata Vritaha. Ratha Shatai. That means Shata means 100. So hundreds of chariots. What chariots? Golden chariots. So he was driving the chariot of Devaki and Vasudev, but that chariot was surrounded by hundreds of golden chariots. So it was a big procession, taking Devaki back to her, not back, taking Devaki to her in-laws' place, Vasudev's home. Text 31 to 32 is so Priyanka Haripriya Mataji read. Pragya, if you're there, or Saujanya Mataji. चतुःशतं पारिबर्हं गजानां हेममालिनाम् अश्वानाम् अयुतं सार्धं रथानां च त्रिषट्शतं दासीनां सुकुमारीणां द्वेषते समलङ्कृते दुहित्रे देवकः प्रादान् याने दुहित्र वत्सलः. Oh, translation.
I will read Mataji Prajna left.
Okay.
Devaki's father, King Devaka, King Devaka, was very much affectionate to his daughter. Therefore, while she and her husband were leaving home, he gave her a dowry of 400 elephants nicely decorated with golden garlands. He also gave 10,000 horses, 1,800 chariots, and 200 very beautiful young maid servants, fully decorated with ornaments. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Hare Krishna. Purport Aditi Lata Mataji or Arun. Purport Aditi Lata Mataji, you're there? Arunita.
Yes, Mataji. The system of giving a dowry to one's daughter has existed in Vedic civilization for a very long time. Even today, following the same system, a father who has money will give his daughter an opulent dowry. A daughter would never inherit the property of her father, and therefore, an affectionate father during the marriage of his daughter would give her as much as possible. A dowry, therefore, is never illegal according to the Vedic system. Here, of course, the gift offered as a dowry by Devaka to Devaki was not ordinary. Because Devaka was a king, he gave a dowry quite suitable to his royal position. Even an ordinary man, especially a high class Brahmana, Kshatriya, or Vaishya, is supposed to give his daughter a liberal dowry. Immediately after the marriage, the daughter goes to her husband's house. And it is also a custom for the brother of the bride to accompany his sister and brother in law to exhibit affection for her. This system was followed by Kamsa. These are all old customs in the society of Varnashram Dharma, which is now wrongly designated as Hindu. These long standing customs are nicely described here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, first of all, Chatuh Shatam Paribarham Gajanam Hemamalinam Ashwanam Ayutam Sardham Rathanam Cha Trishat Shatam. So, what is the dowry that was given to Devaki is described here. Chatuh Shatam means 400. 400 Paribarham, gifts, right? Dowry. Like Paritoshakam, you say, right? It's a gift. So, Paribarham. How many? 400 Gajanam, elephants. 400 elephants. Hema Malinam, and Hema means gold. So they had garlands made of gold. These 400 elephants, each one wearing garlands decorated with garlands made of gold. Ashwanam, horses. Ayutam. Ayutam means 10,000. 400 elephants, 10,000 horses. Sardham means along with Rathanam. So horses are separate and chariots are separate. Same when we look at the Akshauhini Sena, there also we will see so many chariots and so many horses, right? Those riding on horsebacks, that is separate, and then chariots are separate. So 10,000 horses and how many chariots? Three Shat Shatam. 3 means 3, Shat means 6. So 3 times 6, 100. What is that? 1800. 3 times 600. 1800 chariots. 10,000 horses, 1800 chariots. Dasinam, and apart from that, maid servants. Sukumarinam, right? Very, very gentle and beautiful unmarried girls. Dasinam Sukumarinam. Dve, 2, Shata, 100. Samalankrite. How many dasis? 200 dasis. All young, unmarried girls. And they were fully decorated with ornaments. That means they had all gold earrings, necklaces, belt, and everything. Fully decorated with ornaments. Duhitre means to the daughter. Who is giving? Devaka is giving to his daughter Devaki. Devaka, King Devaka, he gave this gift while she was going. Why he gave to her? Duhitra Vatsalaha. Vatsalaha means very affection. Like Krishna is Bhakta Vatsalaha, Devaka was Duhitra Vatsalaha. Duhitra Vatsala means one who is very affectionate to his daughter. So just out of affection for Devaki, he sent all these gifts as dowry. So what do you learn from this? For one thing, Srila Prabhupada is saying that giving dowry to one's daughter is not, it's like it is, dowry is seen as a taboo nowadays, isn't it? Like if you are like giving dowry, no, you should not give or you should not ask, whatever. Asking is out of question. But did you ever see that Vasudev is demanding that you should give so much? So that is the perverted, uh, you know, uh, version of the actual dowry system. What is happening today, where the man or the bridegroom's family is demanding, because my son is, he's in America, or because my son is a doctor, or he's a software engineer earning so much, or he has so many degrees, so therefore his price goes up for dowry. You have to give, a car and a bungalow and so much money in cash, all these things. That's not how it was. It is said that certainly even a poor father, he will also certainly give a gift to his daughter. Why? Out of his affection. He will give according to his means. He'll try to give as much as he can. As much as he can, it is said, as much as possible, whatever he is able to give, he will give. And what to speak of those who have that wealth. And one important point here, yes, Mataji, I will come to you 1 second. One important point is that daughters don't inherit the father's property. We read this earlier also, if you remember. When did we read this? In this chapter only. Why did Krishna kill his maternal uncle Kamsa? Because maternal uncle is just like one's father. If the maternal uncle didn't have any sons, then the nephew would inherit the property of the uncle, not uncle's daughter. There also you see a daughter does not inherit father's property. Only the sons inherit father's property. So this is a new system also that they made up now, that daughters and sons will get equal shares. That was not the system. Sons will get the property of the father. And even within that, the eldest son should get more. This is Vedic system. Why? Because the eldest son actually takes responsibility of the others. He should. He takes responsibility of the others. If he's maintaining everyone else, then there is no question of dividing the property amongst the brothers. There's no question. There's a nice story about that in Mahabharata also. Anyway, quickly I can tell you now. So once there were two brothers. Yeah, I think they were Brahmanas. So their names were Vibhavasu and Supratika. Okay, both were Brahmanas, and good Brahmanas, but they had, like everyone else, everyone has some fault or the other. They also had some faults. So the elder one was maintaining the younger one, but the younger one, Supratika, kept pestering the older brother. I don't trust means I don't want to live in a joint family. Basically, you divide my share. I want my own share. And the elder brother tried to give good advice to the younger brother by giving so many examples, from history and from scriptures, and what scriptures say about dividing the property. This is not good. You know why it is not good? Because when you divide the property, it is not possible to divide it exactly equal amount. It's not possible when you have land or so many things. It's not possible to. There will certainly, this is inevitable, there will be, like one person got a little bit more, one person got a little bit less, and this division of property will lead to dissension, disagreement, and hurt feelings amongst brothers. And after that separation, it comes to it that they don't even like to talk to each other, and in some cases they will even kill each other. So dividing the property always ends in hard feelings. That's one thing. And the other thing is, when brothers are separated, outsiders will try to take advantage. Otherwise they are one family, right? But when they are separated, outsiders will creep in. They try to exploit, take advantage of the situation. So they will take the sides of these two brothers, and then they will start saying things how the other person has cheated or this or that, and they will make that gap even more. So because now they are separated, it's easy to break them, and they'll take advantage by taking favors or maybe taking away the property like that. So for all these reasons and many more, we should not divide the property. Let's stay together. So Vibhavasu was giving good advice to his younger brother, but the younger brother was not happy. He didn't trust the older brother. So he just kept saying, no, no, I want my property, I want my property. So he was greedy. The younger brother was greedy, right? I want my property. So the older brother said, in spite of my telling you, you don't listen and you're demanding this. So he cursed him. You become an elephant. I don't know why elephant. He says also something like, I think maybe because of greed. That's his highlight. His quality was greed. So you become an elephant. And then, oh, you're cursing me to be an elephant. I'll also curse you to become a tortoise. So in this way, one person became a gigantic elephant in the next life, and the other person became a gigantic tortoise. If you want to know how big they are, exact measurement I don't remember, but something like 12 yojanas long. One yojana is 8 miles. So the elephant was 12 yojanas long. Why so big? Uh, because they would be in, yeah, why so big, that I don't know. Maybe it's a different era, a different time. But yeah, the elephant was gigantic, like so many miles long, and height was like 6 yojanas, 12 and 6, like that. And the tortoise also was like that, 5 yojanas, I think, circumference round, right? Tortoise shell, and height was 3 yojanas. And they were living in the same water reservoir, a pond that was also huge. Now, why we were reading about this is, because they were offered by Kashyap Muni as food to Garudji. Garuda was hungry, and even after taking birth as elephant and tortoise, they would always keep fighting with each other. The elephant would try to, trample the tortoise, and the turtle would try to drag the elephant into the pond, and they would just keep fighting constantly with each other. So once Kashyapa came, Garuda was on his way to get nectar from the demigods, so that he could relieve his mother from the slavery of her co-wife. So for that he needed to get nectar, but he was so hungry, even though he ate, different uh, beings that were offered to him, he was still hungry. And his father took pity on him, and he said, Kashyap Muni said, in that pond you will find these two. And he tells the history of these two brothers, how they were fighting. And he says, you can go and eat them. So, so they were so huge. And Garuji went and he ate those two. But I was just telling you that story, and after that he continued on his journey. I was telling you this history because how dividing property is not good is said in the scriptures. But the point that we were discussing was that only sons get inherit father's property, girls don't inherit father's property. And because girls don't inherit father's property, father gives a generous gift to his daughter at the time of her wedding. After that, she cannot really claim any of her father's property as hers. It all belongs to either her brother, if there is one, and if there is no brother, then her aunt's son will inherit, like father's sister's son will inherit. This is the Vedic system. So that's why here we see, and of course, father gives out of affection. So Srila Prabhupada was pointing that out. Aditi Lata Mataji wanted to say something.
Yes, Mataji, we multiple times discussed this. First, about the story which you said, yeah, I was going to say that both the brothers are greedy because the other brother is also not living.
No, one brother's problem was anger, and the other brother's problem was greed. The older brother could have simply tolerated it, but he got
Or
angry
given
and he
it, no?
cursed.
Or given it. Like if I was in that position, I would have said, okay, fine, give it. I mean, he did not have detachment from the property
No,
either.
no, it's not about detachment. You understand. The thing is, Shastra forbids dividing, and that's why all those reasons were given why you should not uh, be separated. So he was trying to give good counsel to his younger brother. This is not good out of, now you're thinking that you'll become happy. Actually, it's not going to be good. So he was trying to give him good counsel, but the younger brother was not listening. But the older brother's problem was anger, short temper. So that was his problem, and he cursed. And the younger brother's problem was greed. He could have just remained satisfied because the brother is taking all responsibility of the maintenance. Whatever you need, he's taking up all the responsibility. But the younger one thought, no, I want my own share and I will live my way independently. So, but according to Shastra, that's not good. If the brother is not taking care of you, that's a whole different story. Huh? Like, anyway, now we'll go into other stories, but yeah, go ahead with your point.
Yes, and I was saying that now it is, as you were saying, that now it is a perverted form. So because of greed, they are, first of all, they're selling their sons. It's not that, like as you said, that this much they're demanding because my son studied this or working here or earning this. Plus, the dowry system was not that okay, I have to get my daughter married, so I will have, because of the dowry I have to take loan, sell my house, do this. Not like that. Whatever they had capability, in that, out of affection, father used to give.
Yeah.
Whereas now it has become because of getting daughter married. That is why girls were started being murdered. I'm not saying that is a good thing, but that is the reason, because they have to take loan, they have to sell their house, everything, because they have to fulfill the demands of the boy. So it
Yeah.
has become totally distorted and so bad that now it is in Kali Yuga, it is better not to give dowry, because whatever you're getting the wife anyway. The daughter, when the daughter brings the property, those property does not belong to daughter anymore. Those are taken away by, nowadays I don't know what happened earlier times, they were taken away by the sasural.
Yeah, but earlier times Sasural was maintaining the daughter. So they took away means it's all one family. So the property belongs to the family, and then she is the wife of the son. After the parents, the son inherits the father's property, and if there's other brothers, they all live together. So dharma, the problem is dharma is forgotten. People are walking on adharma. If you actually follow dharma as it is given, there's no problem with the system. Even if the gift is given to Sasural, Sasural is going to maintain the girl, right? They're going to maintain her, provide for her everything. She becomes part of their family member. So whatever she brings, it's for the whole family. And she also she enjoys whatever is the family's property. Before she went there, whatever is there, that house. And after the parents leave, if she is the, if what, she is the wife of the man, so then she will also inherit whatever property is there. So that was the system. But now the problem
Now,
is,
now,
oh,
like when I mean, in the villages and all, whatever stories we read and all those, that when they go, like with the jewelry and all, the sass, she says, okay, give me back, you give me all your jewelries, I'll keep it safe, and then that's gone
never
forever,
comes back.
never comes back. So those are like distortion, like those are
Yeah. Yes,
extortion.
Mother.
Yeah, so those things, that is why this thing has become, because then the wife is only working from, like, because she's treated as a maid servant only, and she's just working, and they're living a lavish life with those
Yeah,
opulence. But
accepted,
yeah,
admitted. And
and
that's the
that's
problem
that's
nowadays.
why I told my parents that if anyone even asks one rupee, I'm not going to get married to that person, because of this situation. Because like, I'm not going to buy someone. If I have to buy someone, then might as well not get married.
Yeah, but always see, what happens is, of course, I'm not saying this is just, but still, even if uh, it's like dharmo rakshati rakshitah, one who protects dharma gets protected by dharma. one who protects dharma. Protecting dharma means what? Abiding by dharma. If you abide by dharma, that dharma protects you. I'll tell you another story. You know what? I really feel inspired to read. Maybe there are so many. I never read Mahabharat from this angle before. I just read Purna Pragya Prabhu's, or not Purna Pragya Prabhu's, Krishna Dharma Prabhu's, what we have on Veda base. It just starts off with the Pandavas' life. But actually, there are so many stories inside Mahabharat, and all these stories are not just meant for entertainment. Certainly, they're entertaining, but each story actually teaches you about dharma and how one should follow. It's filled with so many actually. So, about following dharma and not following dharma, dharma gives you protection. Well, we don't have time, but another time. But in short, all of you are familiar with the Janmejaya's Sarpa Yagya. Sarpa Yagya means where he performed a sacrifice to force all the snakes to come and get burnt in that fire sacrifice. He was angry that this Takshaka snake killed his father, Parikshit Maharaj. And not only did he kill his father, there was one sage, one Brahmana, who knew how to counter the effect of a snake bite. And in fact, he could even stop the snake from biting, or at least even after bitten, he could actually revive the person. Even Takshaka's poison, which was most virulent, he could actually do that. But this Takshaka, bribed that person and sent him back, didn't allow that person to come to Parikshit Maharaj. So Janmejaya was very angry. So therefore he performed this Sarpa Yagya. So anyway, there's a long history behind why this Sarpa Yagya is happening. It was actually because these snakes were cursed by their mother, Kadru. Kadru cursed her sons, snakes. Why she cursed them, that's another story. But in short, they were all going to be killed in this yagya by Janmejaya. And they were thinking, before this yagya happens, how can we saved? How can we be saved? Can we do something? Because generally, for every curse, there will be some counter. You can actually counter that curse by some method. You just need to find out how to do it. But they all figured out that any curse can be countered except for the curse of a mother. When a mother curses her own children, there is no counter for that. Because mothers generally, we will see, mothers will never curse their children, right? What did we learn? That a mother's love for her child is the closest that you can find in this world, which is similar to the love of the Supreme Lord for the living entities within this world. So, as selfless as it can get in this world, mother's love is called selfless, right? Such a mother, if she curses her children to die, who can counter such a curse? So Kadru, the mother of the serpents, she cursed her sons to get burnt and killed in this yagya. And all these snakes got together and they were discussing how can we become free from this curse. And different snakes were giving different ideas. You know what ideas they were giving? So the eldest of all snakes was Vasuki. So all the other snakes, one snake was saying, you know what, we will actually take the form of a Brahmana, okay? And we will go and advise Janmejaya, what you're doing is not good. You should not do this Sarpayaga. The king, he cannot go against Brahmana's instructions, so he will not do this yagya. And another snake said, what if we took the form of a minister, right? Like ministers, we will go and we will tell the king that, no, we should not do this, right? From authority point of view, we cannot do this, we shouldn't do this. We will discourage the king from performing this yagya. And then someone else said, you know what, we will just go and kill the purohit who's going to bite as a snake. They'll go and they'll bite and kill the priest who will perform this yagya. No priest, no yagya, we will all be safe. And then some other snake said, we'll just go and kill all the people there, thousands of people, so no yajna will happen. And another snake said, we will go and create, right, from clouds, we'll create so much rain that the fire of the sacrifice will be put out and there won't be any fire sacrifice. Then, after giving all these different ideas, they approached Vasuki, the eldest, and they said, what do you say? And he said, all the suggestions that you have given, they are all against dharma, they are adharmic, and I cannot agree with any of your suggestions. One who protects dharma even in the most difficult situation, it is easy to give up dharma to save ourselves, isn't it? There's temptation, there is fear, so it's so easy to just give up your dharma and jump into adharma. But even in such difficult situations, one who holds on to dharma will protect that person. So then Vasuki suggested, I see that none of these are going to protect us. None of these. We should actually approach our father Kashyapa and we should find out what is the solution. So anyway, so that was about how the story goes on. It can go on for hours and hours. But the thing is, we have to follow dharma. So even here, about talking about dowry, very clearly in the purport we read, Srila Prabhupada said, this is the dharma in Varnashram system. It is not illegal or it is not bad. Now, because one person did something bad, to counter that, we come up with another material solution, right? Material solutions to material problems is not going to solve the problem. One solution will create 10 more problems, and trying to solve those 10 problems materially will create 100 problems, and solving those 100 materially will create unlimited number of problems, which is the situation today. So if we can just keep going further and further, what is happening is we are moving away, further away from dharma with our solutions that we come up with by our mental speculation. So the only solution will be to turn around and go back to dharma. But of course, it's a collective effort, but at the same time, individually also we can do. Because if individually you follow, you are protected. At least you are protected. But to bring a change in the whole society, then it has to be arranged. The Kshatriyas have to actually step up and once again bring dharma back into society. Yes, Prabhuji, Narsimali Chaitan Prabhu.
Okay, so Mataji, like you said, like you said, we create so many solutions to to solve our problems and create more problems. So I heard the story before, and in this Radhanath Swami Maharaj, I think, and one other devotee, he joins this like Bhakti Center, and Radhanath Swami asks him, what will you do if this Bhakti Center closes? And then the devotee, he didn't know what to say. So he's like, plan B, he said, I'll get married. And then Radhanath Swami Maharaj said, you should instead of you should not say that. You should say, so you should say that even if the whole ISKCON closes, I will not get married. So the Radhanath Maharaj like said not to create more plans and get yourself into more trouble.
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, we will be tested. When we take vows, we will be tested. It's not that just because I took vow, now everything is going to be smooth and easy. But even if it is not smooth, we should hold on to dharma, right? The vows that we have taken. Nice. Thank you. Instead of, because I have, the situation is like this, so now I can go back on my dharma. Not like that. Yes, that's the lesson. Thank you. Okay. So it's 5:30 here. I'll just finish this purport and then we'll do Bhagavad Gita. So the system of giving a dowry to one's daughter has existed in Vedic civilization for a very long time. Even today, following the same system, a father who has money. So, like Mataji said, Aditi Lata Mataji said, it is not that he's forced to take a loan just so that he can give money, but a father who has money, right? If he has money, he will give his daughter an opulent dowry. So, according to his means, he will give. Why? Out of affection. And besides that, a daughter does not inherit father's property. So an affectionate father, a father who loves his daughter, during her marriage, he will give her as much as possible, knowing that later on, this is all she's going to get from me, right? So a dowry, see, this is dharma. A dowry, therefore, is never illegal according to the Vedic system. Now, we cannot go against this and say, well, today the system is different, so therefore now we will abolish the dowry system. What you have to abolish is the greed, right? The perverted form of dowry has to be removed. But you should not, if somebody is wanting to give dowry, out of his affection to his daughter, no, I'm completely against the dowry system. That's also not right attitude. But at the same time, the groom's side demanding dowry, you should give this much, that is also not correct. So if somebody is demanding like that, and if the father does not have so much, and then for for somebody to step up and say, somebody means either the groom or the bride, if they say, no, this is not right, they don't have so much, you should not demand, let them give whatever they are able to give out of their, um, uh, according to their means, and out of their free will, whatever they want to give, let them give, no problem. Why we should do that? Out of respect to the Vedic system. This dowry system is not illegal. This has been prevalent in Vedic system, so there is no problem with the system itself. The problem is with the perverted form, and that has to be changed. We can fight against the perverted form, but not just altogether. Like saying, throwing the baby out with the bath water. We don't want to do that. Just throw the bath water, keep the baby. So here, of course, the gift offered as a dowry by Devaka to Devaki is not ordinary. So now just because Devaka is giving 400 elephants, now if we make that a standard, every father should give his daughter 400 elephants. Also, besides, what are they going to do with the elephants? How are they going to feed? It's going to be a headache for the groom. But according to their means, right? So if the father is like Devaka, then he'll give so much. And a poorer person will give less. But according to their means, they give. So now we are reading about what he gave in this verse. Devaka was a king. He gave a dowry quite suitable to his royal position. But even an ordinary man, especially a high class, right? Shudras are not mentioned here, especially Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, because they have wealth. Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas have wealth. Brahmanas are actually not, they don't have wealth, but sometimes they can. Like we were reading in Sakshi Gopal, right? There's the younger Brahmana and the older Brahmana. So the older Brahmana had wealth. He was a well-to-do Brahmana. So, Brahmanas are given gifts. They can be given land and so on and so forth. So they can have that, So Brahmanas, Kshatriyas and Vaishyas, they should give gifts. They should means they give gifts and it is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Is it from before or you're raising your hand again, Surya? Maybe from before. Okay. Immediately after the marriage, the daughter goes to her husband's house, and it is also a custom for the brother that we saw. Yeah. So, well, these are all old customs in the society of Varnashram Dharma. Old in the sense they used to be there, right? Which is now wrongly designated as Hindu. So, Varnashram Dharma is the real term. Hindu is not the actual term, right? And simply saying that the Hindu system, this is all Hindu system, and then just put everything in the basket of Hindu and throw it out the window. No, not like that. This is the system of Varnashram Dharma, And these long-standing customs are nicely described here. So certainly Srila Prabhupada is approving it, right? These long-standing customs are nicely described here. And also one more thing, when the girl goes, one more thing why they give the girl is she will be respected, right? If she just goes without anything, then it's not just her in-laws. She'll have so many relatives also. Oh, she's coming from a well-to-do family. She has, she will be honored. She'll be respected there. That's also another thing. So it's a science. It's a science, and also she will feel, like, you know, she'll have that confidence, right? Like she has her clothes and her jewelry and whatever, and she doesn't have to feel, uh, I don't know the right word, but like someone who doesn't have anything, who's at the mercy. She doesn't have to feel like that. She's well fed and well protected, well cared for. She's coming from a nice family. And for herself also, she will feel confident. And also for the family members also, they will also respect her. She's coming from a family where she's well taken care of. So they will also treat her nicely like that. So that's a psychology. That's also there. Okay, so this verse we'll do tomorrow, text 33. And Aditi Lata Mataji read, right? The purport?
No, Mataji. Suhrit.
Yeah.
Yes, Mataji, I read. Arunita didn't read.
Arunita didn't read. So we'll start with Arunita.
Then Priyanka Mataji after that.
Mataji,
Oh, I
didn't
read. I didn't read.
Yeah, Mataji, I also didn't read Mataji.
Wait.
Priyanka Mataji read, then Saujanya Mataji read because Pragnya was not there, and then I read.
Yeah. And
oh yeah, I read. Sorry, Mataji, I forgot.
yeah, and Suhrud, you were not there or what? Yeah, maybe you were not. Yeah. Spurti read and she said, my brother is not there. So we, we had to continue. So now you'll get your turn in the next cycle. Okay. All right. Because it becomes too complicated, especially if it goes to the next day, going back, it becomes a bit complicated. Okay.
Thank you, Mataji.
Sure. Bhagavad Gita. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 2, text 20. Please repeat. न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिन् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. So we're seeing the difference between soul and body. That's the theme here on all these verses. The soul cannot die and the body cannot be kept forever. That's the theme. For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. It has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Qualitatively, the small atomic fragmental part of the Supreme Spirit is one with the Supreme. Qualitatively means it's the same quality. What is the quality? Satchit Ananda. The spirit soul is also Satchidananda, and the Supreme Lord is also Satchidananda. So qualitatively, it's the same. He undergoes no changes like the body. What are the changes that the body undergoes? First, you take birth, right? Before your birth, was your body there? No. You take birth first. And after you are born, then you start growing. You get bigger and bigger and bigger, right? And then after you grow, then you actually stay for some time, right? Like, like you start growing 5 years, 6 years, 7, 16, 17, 18. And after that, are you still growing taller? No. And if you have a healthy lifestyle, you won't even become big and fat. You'll kind of stay like that. Okay. But will you remain like that? Young and, like how you looked when you were 16, 18 years old? You'll be the same throughout your life? No. You'll remain like that for some time, and then you will also reproduce. Reproduce means now you will give birth to the next, another small child will come from you, right? And then after that, what happens to your body? Not immediately after you reproduce, but after you stay like that for some time, and during that time there is reproduction, and then after staying for some time, then the body starts dwindling, right? Your hair will start turning gray, your skin will start becoming wrinkly, your bones will start hurting, your knees hurt, and then you start bending down, so on and so forth. That means the body starts dwindling, dwindling, dwindling. And finally, the body disappears. When you say death, means it's finished. That soul leaves the body and the body is cremated and it is finished. No more. The body doesn't exist anymore. Before birth, was the body there? After death, is the body going to be there? No. But in between, there are changes that are happening to the body. There is birth, there's growth, there is staying for some time, then there is reproduction, dwindling, and finally death. These are the 6 transformations that the body undergoes. But does the soul also have this type of transformations? Do you ever hear of the soul taking birth, growing, producing new souls? No. Soul does not undergo any of these transformations. There's no birth, there's no death, there's no old age, no reproduction, nothing. One soul does not give birth to another soul. Soul is eternal. If it has no birth, how any soul can take birth from another soul, right? So he undergoes no changes like the body. Sometimes the soul is called the steady or kutastha. The body is subject to 6 kinds of transformations. It takes its birth from the womb of the mother's body, remains for some time, grows, produces some effects, gradually dwindles, and at last vanishes into oblivion. The soul, however, does not go through such changes. The soul is not born, but because he takes on a material body, the body takes its birth. And even the birth of the body is because of the presence of the soul. If there's no soul, then there is no transformations in the body also. The body does not move further, right? The soul does not take birth there, right? When the body is taking birth, for example, if you are 5 years old, you were born on a particular date 5 years ago, does it mean that 5 years ago the soul took birth? No, the soul does not take birth at there, and the soul does not die either. Anything which has birth also has death. And because the soul has no birth, he therefore has no past, present, or future, no death also. He is eternal, right? No past, present, future means he was there in the past, now he is there, he'll be in the future also. He is eternal, ever existing and primeval. That is, there is no trace in history of his coming into being. Primeval means you cannot trace out when exactly the soul appeared. You cannot trace out that date. Under the impression of the body, we seek the history of birth. But we study history when this dynasty or when this empire started, all that, right? We study history. In fact, social studies means most of social studies, what we study in America especially, is only history. Other places also. History is it's a big part of social studies. Why we study so much history? We seek the history of birth, etc., of the soul. Why? Because of this bodily. For the body, there is history, because it comes into being and then it ends. So that is history, what has passed. But for the soul, there is nothing like that. But because we are in the bodily concept, we seek out the history of the soul also. When did the soul first come to this world, to the material world? And like that? Why we are seeking out the history of the soul? Because we think we are these bodies. This impression of the body is there. That's why. The soul does not at any time become old as the body does. The so-called old man therefore feels himself to be in the same spirit as in his childhood or youth. Yes, the body hurts, but your desires don't go away. Just because your body is old does not mean you don't have a desire to eat, you don't have a desire to do so many things. No, you still have those desires because you're the spirit soul. The changes of the body do not affect the soul. The soul does not deteriorate like a tree, nor anything material. The soul has no byproducts either. The byproducts of the body, namely children, are also different individual souls, and owing to the body, they appear as children of a particular man. Yes, that is why it's actually ignorance. You see little children and you say, oh, so cute, little children. This is actually ignorance. Reality is the way I am, that is also the same spirit soul, right? Only now that spirit soul is covered by a baby body. This spirit soul is covered by whatever body, right? Woman body, man body, old body, middle-aged body. But this is the body. My identity is I'm a spirit soul, and that little baby is also a spirit soul. But this is called Maya, right? In Maya, being in Maya, because of Maya, we think, oh, this is a baby and this is my baby, and then we have affection and so on and so forth. So many things come. Aham mameti. Aham means I am this body. Mama means anything which is related to this body is mine. Like that. This is avidya.
So Mataji, by seeing a baby, we will so his soul is eternal and old. So we'll
At
say,
least
oh,
in
so
your
nice.
heart, if you're able to, if it even comes to your mind, that means you're doing pretty good. How many of us even think like that when we see? You may not say it because others,
Yeah.
yeah, but when you see, what are you thinking? That's what is important. That tells us where I am, right? Most
Yes,
of the
Mother.
time
I'm
when
just
we see
saying
babies, we say,
sounds.
oh, so cute, and you have tender feelings to them because it's so helpless, it's so cute, and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah. But we are commenting on the body, no? We are commenting not on the soul. We are commenting on the material body. That
Are you even
body is
seeing
cute.
it? Are you even seeing it as separate from the body?
Yeah, not at that moment, right? When we are
Uh,
saying, yeah, we
yeah,
can
now
keep
in
on
Bhagavad
forgetting.
Gita, Bhagavatam class, yes, certainly we will see. But this is preparation. That is the real test, right? You prepare at home and then you have to go for the exam. How you do in the exam, that's what decides your result. So that is
Yes,
the test. Now is
yes.
preparation.
But one thing, Mataji, at least when my babies were born, I looked at them and I was thinking they're so helpless, and I was feeling sorry for them for their
Yeah.
helpless condition.
Yes, I was feeling the same too, especially with the first one. When you first have a baby, because it's new to you also. New to you means in our ignorance, it is new to us. I don't know how many times we had this experience in past lives, but still.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a similar experience also, feeling uh, so, so
Sad,
helpless
sad.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually,
Yes.
this is life in the material world. Okay, so the the changes of the body do not affect the soul. The soul does not deteriorate, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that we are old and we don't have any feelings. That's not the point at all. Having feelings is not rejected. We are not gyanis that this is not, you're not this body and then you don't have feelings. That's not the idea either. You will have, but you will have real feelings. You should have, like as a devotee, he will also have. He will feel sorry for the spirit soul who is conditioned now, right? In a helpless condition, and this soul has to be helped like that. He will also have feelings, but not in ignorance. Feelings are not based on, uh, you know, avidya or ignorance. That's the point. Don't our spiritual masters feel compassion? They feel a lot of compassion, and they have, feelings of love, but uh, in knowledge, not in ignorance. That's the point. That's the point. So, running out of time. Okay. The byproducts of the body, namely children, are also different individual souls, and owing to the body, they appear as children of a particular man. That is why, when you are self realized, you don't see any difference between your children and other children. That's one thing, right? You just see everyone as parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord. You will have that affection for everyone. The body develops because of the soul's presence, but the soul has neither offshoots nor change. The body is changing, and the body is only developing, changing because of the presence of the soul. Okay? Because the body is changing, and it's changing only because of the soul, we should not conclude that the changes are happening due to soul means the soul itself is changing, therefore the body is changing. We shouldn't conclude like that. Even though the body is changing because of the presence of the soul itself has no changes. Therefore, the soul is free from the 6 changes of the body. It has no offshoots. In the Katha Upanishad 1-18, we also find a similar passage which reads, Na jayate mriyate va vipaschin nayam kutaschin na babhuva kaschid ajo nityah shashvatoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. The meaning and purport of this verse is the same as in the Bhagavad Gita, but here in this verse there is one special word, vipaschid, which means learned or with knowledge. The soul is full of knowledge or full always with consciousness. Therefore, consciousness is the symptom of the soul. Even if one does not find the soul within the heart where he is situated, one can still understand, because we saw the size of the soul is so small you won't find it. So even if you don't find the soul, one can still understand the presence of the soul simply by the presence of consciousness. Sometimes we do not find the sun in the sky owing to clouds or for some other reason, but the light of the sun is always there, and we are convinced that it is therefore daytime. As soon as there is a consciousness, there is a little light in the sky early in the morning, we can understand that the sun is in the sky. Similarly, since there is some consciousness in all bodies, whether man or animal, we can understand the presence of the soul. This consciousness of the soul is, however, different from the consciousness of the Supreme, because the Supreme consciousness is all knowledge, past, present, and future. The consciousness of the individual soul is prone to be forgetful. When he is forgetful of his real nature, he obtains education and enlightenment from the superior lessons of Krishna. But Krishna is not like the forgetful soul, right? He doesn't need to go to school and then learn and all that. He's not forgetful. If so, Krishna's teachings of Bhagavad Gita would be useless. There are 2 kinds of souls, namely the minute particle soul, Anu Atma, and the super soul, Vibhu Atma. This is also confirmed in the Katha Upanishad 1-20 in this way. Anoraniyan mahato mahiyan atmasya janto nihito guhayam tamakratuh pashyati vita shoko dhatuh prasadan mahimanam atmanah. Both the super soul Paramatma and the atomic soul Jivatma are situated on the same tree of the body within the same heart of the living being. So the tree is the body, and the heart of the living being is maybe the branch of the tree. And only one who has become free from all material desires as well as lamentations can, by the grace of the Supreme, understand the glories of the soul. Krishna is the fountainhead of the super soul also, as it will be disclosed in the following chapters, and Arjuna is the atomic soul, forgetful of his real nature. Therefore, he requires to be enlightened by Krishna or by his bona fide representative, the spiritual master. Okay? If you we can stop here. We won't read Lilamrita today. What time is it? We have maybe one small paragraph. Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. So Srila Prabhupada is, they found this storefront, right? The Second Avenue storefront. Mr. Gardiner and Mike, so Mr. Gardiner is the realtor, and Mike were the first to arrive. Mike noted the unusual hand-painted sign, matchless gifts, above the front window. It was a holdover, Mr. Gardiner explained, from when the place had been a nostalgic gift shop. So why the paint of matchless gifts was on the glass, right, is being explained. It was a holdover, Mr. Gardiner explained, from when the place had been a nostalgic gift shop. That means it used to be a gift shop. So when it was a gift shop, it was written there, matchless gifts. And now it is still there, right? Although it's not a gift shop anymore. Mike proceeded to describe the Swami as a spiritual leader from India, an important author, and a Sanskrit scholar. The rental agent seemed receptive. As soon as Prabhupada and Carl arrived and everyone had been congenially introduced, Mr. Gardiner showed them the small storefront. Prabhupada, Carl, and Mike carefully considered its possibilities. What was the purpose? To hold classes, right? So it was empty, plain, and dark. The electricity had not been turned on and it needed repainting. It would be good for meetings, but not for the Swami's residence. But at $125 a month, it seemed promising. Then Mr. Gardiner revealed a small second floor apartment just across the rear courtyard, directly behind the storefront, another $71 a month, and the Swami could live there. Although first Mr. Gardiner would have to repaint it. The total rent would come to $196, and Carl, Mike, and others would pitch in. So we will also stop here. Thank you all, dear devotees. All of you have a wonderful day in Krishna consciousness. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.